What up, nerds? Welcome back to the Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie, and today we're gonna chat about the book that I literally just finished last night. I had to go ahead. I really felt the need to film immediately to talk about my thoughts and feelings regarding this book because I have been so affected by the ending. Maybe doing a little review of it will help me to cope and move on. Here's hoping. But the book that I just finished is Malice by John Gwynne. It is the first book in the Faithful and the Fallen series that he wrote. This book came out in 2012. So what made me pick this book? I actually had newly subscribed to Plants and Paperbacks, and I actually saw Brittany's review of the second book in the series first, and I watched her review and I found it very interesting, and I was like, you know what, I need to put that series on my radar. Well, a couple of her follow-up videos, she brought the series back up again, and she was like, I just don't understand why more people aren't talking about this series. It's great. And her enjoyment of these books just really came across, and I was like, you know what, I've got to get this. And finally, after I think the third video where she mentioned it, I literally paused her video and ordered the set immediately. I got the books at the beginning of March, and I had already planned out my TBR for the month. And then when it came time to choose my books for my Owls Readathon, one of the prompts for the profession I chose was read a book with a mostly. And so I was like, okay, this is perfect. This is a perfect time to start this series. So that's how I came to be introduced to this book. Okay, well, you know, I like to start off on the shallow end of things, and that is I judge it by its cover. It's not the most interesting cover. It's not the ugliest cover. I mean, all in all, it's not bad. I mean, the sword on the front is not just a sword, it's decorated, and now that I know whose sword this is, it has so much more meaning to me. But if I was walking by in a bookstore and I was picking it up and I knew nothing about it, the only thing I would notice is, okay, it's cool. It's got what looks to be like some sort of wolf on the pommel. I do like the script of the lettering on the front. Would the cover be enough for me to purchase the book? If I'm being completely honest, no, it's not. So there's that. The cover didn't do it for me. Let's see if the synopsis will. The banished lands have a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed in battle. An uneasy peace reigns, but now giants stir once more. The very stones weep blood, and there are sightings of gigantic worms. Those who can still read the signs see a prophecy realized. Sorrow will darken the world as angels and demons make it their battlefield. Young Corbin watches enviously as boys become warriors and yearns to join them, determined that he will make his family proud. It is only when everything he knows is threatened that he discovers the true cost of becoming a man. As the kings look to their borders and priests beg answers from the gods, only a chosen few know that the fate of the world will be decided between two champions, the Black Sun and the Bright Star, and with their coming will be a war to end all wars. So the cover didn't do it for me. The synopsis totally does. I have always been fascinated with the battles between angels and demons. Out of everything I just read, that really jumped out at me and caught my interest. And I would have totally purchased the book. I would have totally read the book based off of that sentence alone. However, there's a lot of really interesting things going on in that synopsis that I would be curious to know about. Okay, so I have a really weird quirk when it comes to reading, and this book satisfied that. And what I mean by that, the chapters are relatively short. I am kind of OCD about where I will stop in a book. I cannot stand to stop reading in the middle of a chapter. I always try to get to the end of the chapter. While I liked that about them, this book has a lot of Game of Thrones vibes to me, in that it's written similar style where each chapter is devoted to a particular character, which I don't mind that at all. The first book I ever read like that was actually a Game of Thrones, and so I got used to that writing style at that point years ago. So it didn't bother me at all. This book follows a lot of characters, and we got introduced to those characters at the same time. Like it felt like the first 10 or 12 chapters were 10 or 12 different characters. So by the time I revisited the first character, I had basically all but forgotten who they were and what they were in relation to the story. So I'm gonna tell you, I was about 200 pages in before I felt like I had met all the characters and actually could remember who they were and got them all straight. I personally think my enjoyment would have been greater had maybe John Gwynn basically focused on 3 or 4, get to know them really well, and then maybe start sprinkling in more. So as a result, it took me about 200 pages to get them all straight, remember their stories, and remember their part they were playing. Now, I'm not saying that I did not enjoy what I was reading. I did. I would say about the first 340 pages of this book were completely devoted to character development and world building. And I had no problem with that. It was very interesting. There was so much intrigue. There was so much setup. And boy, when I tell you that it paid off, I want to say I hit page 340 and this book freaking snap. All of a sudden, all of the setup from the previous 300 pages, everything started falling into place. Everything went into motion. I did not want to put this book down. It just absolutely consumed me, man. And so I stayed up super late to finish it, and I regret that now because the ending was such that I could not get my brain to shut off so I could go to sleep. I was up for hours just laying in bed. I was so upset. We follow several characters in each of the realms, so we are piecing together the story from the whole realm. So Azeroth is basically the devil, and Elyon is God. Azeroth has, I do not know how to pronounce it, but he's got basically the fallen angels, and then Elyon has his angels. I cannot pronounce the names. I will butcher them. So signs are being noticed. A prophecy is remembered about a war that's going to happen, the God War. And so this entire book, to put it simply, is about the event that triggers the God War. That's simply when the Black Sun and the Bright Star reveal themselves. The Black Sun is going to be the champion of Azeroth, and the Bright Sun is the champion of Elyon. Throughout the entire story, wondering who these two are. And you're gonna form a lot of opinions and theories about who you think they are. I never put it together. I was just, every time I thought I knew and had it figured out, something would happen, and John would just took an arrow to the knee from John Gwynn, and it just all went away, and I had to scrap those ideas and start over. And it's just, he doesn't make it easy on you to try and figure out where he's going, because there were so many, and what's crazy is you're automatically thinking Azeroth is basically the devil, the Black Sun is going to be a horrible person. No. See, I don't think so. I think the Black Sun is someone who is good and means well, just is advised by the wrong people and turned the wrong way, and basically is influenced to think what he's doing is the greater good. That is just my opinion. That's my thoughts. I do not know for sure. I actually don't know yet who the Bright Star and the Black Sun are, because they actually were not revealed in the end of the book. Maybe subtly, possibly, but there's so many ways it can go. There's so many good people. There's so many good people in this book. There's so many great characters. I love them all. So, there's a couple of side characters I don't like, but the main characters, oh man, I just fell in love with them. I felt like I just knew their whole lives. The character development was so good that I felt a part of their lives. I felt like I knew them. The ending, the last 100 or so pages just wrecked me. I mean, if you've read A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin, the end of this book totally red weddinged me. Like, and I don't mean you watched the show and saw the show writer's version of the red wedding, because that was child's play compared to the book. I'm talking about the book's red wedding. I mean, the loss that I feel that I have suffered is just, it's carried over. I finished this book late last night. It is way into the next day. I've been so upset by the ending. I'm so fortunate that I have the rest of the series already here. I do need to finish a couple of books on my TBR before I can jump into the next one. I thought that I would like it. I didn't know that I would love it. I had no idea what I was getting into. I just knew that I loved Brittany and I loved her channel, and she loved these books, and so I wanted to read these books to share that with her. One other interesting tidbit that I'm going to share with you. It is fantasy. There is magic involved, but it's not from your typical race. In this world, the giants are the ones who perform magic. Let that sink in. Like, there's no elves, or at least there's not any yet. The giants, they perform the magic. I just had a little trouble reconciling that. I'm just not used to the giants. You know, giants usually are portrayed as being a little on the lower end of the intelligence scale in stories that I've read, and so I really enjoyed how cunning they are in the book. The giants deserve a little nod. Thank you for that. Thank you for giving them that. So to end, would I recommend this book? Yes, 100%. If you haven't read this series and you're looking for something to pick up, I would definitely recommend the series. I am so eager to continue. I cannot wait. I hope you found this review helpful. I would love to hear your thoughts if you have already read it, or when you read it, come back and let me know how you liked it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for visiting my channel. Thank you for supporting me. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.